project that I wanted to share with you today. It's a little squash book. I thought it was super cute, and I thought I'd show you how to make it. It was a lot of fun. It was really easy, and it looks kind of complicated. It opens up like this. It's one of those little folding projects that I just absolutely love. And there's the back of it. Lots of room for pictures and journaling, and it just folds right back up. And it's super simple, super easy. So let me show you how I did it. So you start out with 12 by 12 paper, and you want to cut it into 6-inch squares. So let me go do that. So this is going to form our base. Of course, you'll get 4 pieces of 6 by 6 out of a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, but you only need 3 for this project. So then you take each one of them and you fold it together just like that, and then crease it down with the bone folder. Open it back up, fold it the other direction, and I do it by lining up my score lines so that it gets pretty straight. And then open it back up, and then turn it and fold it on the diagonals so that you end up with a triangle. Just like that. And you repeat that with all 3 pieces. I'll go ahead and show you the next one. So just fold it in half. Open it up, fold it in half again the other way. And then open it up and turn it, fold it on a diagonal, and make a little triangle. And I'm going to go ahead and do that to the other piece. Okay, so I have all 3 pieces folded into these little triangles. I'm going to open them back up, and you'll notice that, hopefully you can see this, you've got a square here, and then you've got your square that's been folded down the middle, so you end up with 2 triangles and 2 triangles, okay? So it's going to be 3 pieces long, and the middle piece is going to be on top. And what you're going to do is you're going to line up the square with the square, and you adhere this piece to the top of that one. So I'm going to put score tape on the back, just like that. And I love score tape because it's super strong, so it's good for these folding projects. And you can just tear it. You don't have to waste a whole lot of time using the scissors to try and cut it. And just peel the backing off, and then you just line up those squares. Now the one thing about score tape is once it's down, so you have to put it where you want it. Okay, so there we go. So that square is lined up with that one, and then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So here's our square, and here's our square. So we're just going to flip it over, put some adhesive on the back. And I use a lot just because this is going to be opening and closing, but you probably don't have to use, especially with score tape, because it's super strong. So it's probably, you don't need as much to begin with, but I would rather put a little bit more and not have to worry about it. Okay, so here we go again. We're going to line up that square with that square. And there you go. So that's the inside of the album. Okay, so the end pieces here, these squares that you have on the end, this is going to form our cover. This is going to be the front and back. So let's just fold it together like that. So just keep in mind that this square and this square is our front and back cover. And everything that you see sticking out, just shove it in. Just like that. Shove. Squish it in there. This is kind of like origami. It's kind of fun. So just keep turning. Keep squishing. And there, it's all folded in. And I'll just give it a little bone fold to crease it down a little bit. And then there you go. So here's the front and the back. So see, it opens up just like that. Isn't that neat? Okay, so we've got that done. Let me show you a little trick for making the little squares that go inside here, or the little triangles. The book is, each of those squares measured 6 inches, right? So what I did to make these little triangles here in the squares, I cut down pieces of paper that were 5.5 by 5.5. Okay, so let me show you on my paper trimmer what I did with those 5.5-inch squares. So what I just placed the square in at a diagonal, and I line up the tip of each of those diagonal corners, just like that, on the track of your trimmer, and just cut it so that it's like that, okay? And then put those two together, and then you put it back in your paper trimmer, and you line this point up here. So you've got the long side and then the tip here. You line that tip up with the track of your paper trimmer and just cut it in half again. Okay, so that gives us 4 squares. So now we're going to do it one more time, and then they're going to be the perfect size. So put all 4 of them together, line the tip up again with the track of the paper trimmer, and I run it back and forth a couple times to cut through all the layers, and there you go. Let me get this out of the way. And they should be the perfect size. They are, so they mat in there just perfectly. So they're slightly smaller than the base itself, so that you can still see it. And that looks neat, right? So that's how you do the triangles. And I inked the ones for the other book that I did, but you don't have to. That's extra stuff. I used pumice distress ink and a blending tool. And then to do the squares in the middle that look like this here, the big squares, I just took the 5.5 inch square that I cut up earlier, because I cut up a bunch of them, and just cut them in half. So that would be 2 3/4 inches. So I cut it at 2 3/4 inches on this side, and I put them together. And I cut them at 2 3/4 inches on this side, and cut them. And then you end up with perfect size squares. So you just use your tape runner and put those in. I was just doing to show you guys as a, kind of as a sample. But normally, like when I did this one, I used double-sided paper, so I was able to use the back side, just cut these in half and then just flip one of them over. So it's like that. But these, of course, these aren't double-sided that I'm using for this project, so I can't do that. But that's okay. So if you were using double-sided paper, or if you use more than one paper that wasn't double-sided, you can just lay out your pattern however you want to repeat it. And that's that. Now let me show you how to make the cover. Let me get all this out of the way. So then to make the cover, I just cut a piece of paper at 3 3/4 inches by 6.5 inches. Okay, so I've got 3 1/4 by 6, and I just fold it in half like this. And fold it down, and then I do the same thing for the back cover. Another piece, 3 1/4 inches by 6.5, so that when you fold it together, it's going to be a 3 1/4 inch square. And the whole book itself is 3 inches, so it's going to be slightly bigger. When you fold it up, it's going to look like that. Okay, so the front cover is really easy. If you want to so you just tape it together just like that, and adhere it down. Super simple. And then you put adhesive on here. You could use score tape if you wanted to. This Glue Guider Pro, the permanent tape in that's really good, so I think it'll be okay. And then you just kind of want to try and center it on top of it, and then push it down. So that's the front. And then with the back, you're going to put the ribbon through the back. So I figure out about how much I want. Trim a little bit off. And it's going to wrap around like that. So we're going to put it in the middle of this. And what I like to do is put down score tape right in the center, or center-ish, and tape that down. And what I usually end up doing is folding this in half just to make sure that it's somewhat even. And then where I have the fold crease at, I just put that in the center. And then just tape that down. And stick it, and you can use your bone folder to smooth it out if you want to. And then again, I put the adhesive on the back of the book. And then just lay this down, and then put your book on top of it. Center it as best you can. Squish it down, and then there you go. opens up just like that.